How you doing, guys? It's Stephen from James Glen Car Sales, and today we're in a Golf. But it's not just any Golf. It's not any Golf GTI either. It's the Golf GTI TCR, which is a bit of a confusing model if I'm being perfectly honest. TCR stands for Touring Car Racing, which gives quite a high bar in terms of expectation of this Golf GTI. I have been fortunate enough to sample some of the best Golfs in the last 12 months. In fact, most recently drove a Golf GTI Clubsport S only a couple of months ago. One of our kind followers that turned up at our Cars and Coffee open day gave me a wee blast in it, and I was really pleased to get a shot of it, actually, because we sold one last year and it was so fast. I was under the impression that the car was mapped, and having then had an opportunity to drive a car that was standard, all it done was it proved to me that they're just ballistic. You take 120 kilograms of weight out of a 310 horsepower car and you notice it. So that brings us back to this car. This is 290 brake horsepower. It's front wheel drive. The TCR does it with DSG only, which is a bit of a shame, especially as I've always viewed the GTI as a bit more of the driver's choice. Golf R's are as good as they are. They tend to be a bit more sure-footed, a bit less playful than a front-wheel drive car, which you'd like to think is going to be a bit more mobile, you know, a bit of lift-off, oversteer, all that good stuff. So we've got 290 horsepower, we've got front-wheel drive, so it should be more playful than the Golf R. But where does it sit in between a normal Golf GTI, especially the Golf GTi Performance, on which this car is based, and something like a regular Clubsport? I think it's a bit unfair to compare it with the likes of a Clubsport S, which are now north of £40,000, and also has no back seats, and it's a very limited number car. The TCR wasn't a limited number car, but it was a limited production run, so for that reason there are only a few amount. There's quite a limited amount of them for sale. The other thing as well that puts the bar quite high up is the looks. I mean, you can spec these cars with a big decal pack along basically takes up like a quarter of the side of the car. Very McGann Trophy R-esque. So again, you know, you're looking at it, you think decal pack, has got a front splitter, it's got a more pronounced rear spoiler, it's got an apron along the bottom of the rear bumper. So you've got all this going on. So is it all just stick-on addendum? Is it all just marketing? So no, it's not. So, and let me tell you why. So we've got an extra 44 brake horsepower from a remapped engine from the Golf GTI Performance. It's also got an additional two radiators to help with the cooling, which come from the Golf R, and it's also got a different exhaust system as well. So we've got some hardware changes, which is nice to see. So it's not just marketing or, you know, aero bolt-ons. And 44 horsepower is not to be sniffed at. We don't get the additional camber on the front, which made the front of the Clubsport S epic on the turn-in, but we do get the locking differential from the Performance edition, which the car is based on. Now, what I'm beginning to realise is that this car is probably closer linked to the Golf GTI Performance than it is from the cars that come further up the pecking order, like your Clubsport S. So probably the main thing that you're looking for here is this car worth the premium? Yeah, it looks cooler, it's rarer, but ultimately it's got to perform to justify the price. So the car's up to temperature now. First of all, we'll get it down a few gears. We will put the car into its most sportiest of settings, which gives me just another little thing to mention. When I was driving the Golf Clubsport S, it gave you the option to put it into race, just like the option that you have on a Golf R. You don't get that in this. The most sporty or spiciest of settings is just sport, no race. So already, I mean, we're in 6th gear. It 2,500 RPM, and we're going up, so it's just kicked down there into 5th, and there is already a fairly noticeable urgency just on light throttle inputs, and that's us. We're on a slight incline, so there is definitely plenty of power to be had from a sensible point in the rev range. Be interested to see if that's carried on up through the RPM as we go. Ride quality, it's very, very typical golfish. We're not crashing about. I mean, I know I keep on going back to the Clubsport S guys, but that is the last spicy golf that I've got to recall on, and they are stiff, very stiff. So we're very compliant on the road. The car is on a Bridgestone Turismo tyre, which is more of a touring tyre than an out-and-out sport tyre. These cars, just to give you again an idea of where VW were pitching these things, you could order these with a Cup 2 tyre. I mean, that's about as extreme as you get. So the previous owners obviously decided that you know, was wanting to lean more towards the comfort side of things rather than out-and-out performance, and that'll also help with the ride control. But will it hurt the car when we start looking for things like turning, etc.? So yes, we've got a nice ride. The interior is just, it's all very golf, and that is one of the lovely things about a Golf GTI. When you can't be bothered, it's just a lovely place to be. The 7.5 infotainment is all nice and glossy, it's very iPad-like. 7.5 also comes with your standard TFT display, which you can, you know, mess about with and change your views. But you know, we've got in the traditional configuration with just a nice big tacho on the left and the speedo on the right, which has got 180 miles per hour on it. It's also worth noticing as well, the TCR has had the rev limiter removed, so this little hatchback will do 164 miles per hour, so that is not too shabby at all. So we're just about into the national speed limit road as we come up. We're going over some more rough stuff, which the Golf is just taking in its stride. And the van's going right as well. So we'll crack on, and we'll see how it performs on more sweepy flowing stuff, and then we can do the twistier stuff later on. Just on the downshifts there, we're not getting pops and bangs, we're just getting some nice little pops out of the exhaust, which is very Golf, not too roarty. The mid-range acceleration there was very impressive. So clear road up ahead, let's go. This is a quick car. Got no torque steer. It's a nice dry day today. We're not going to be lighting the wheels up on an overtake, but it's certainly very sure-footed. And as we build up the speed, we're in a nice big long left-hander here. We'll see how the car settles in. Carries speed so well. It's not as stiff as I expected. This car doesn't have the optional dynamic chassis, it's just got the passive shockers. The TCR does sit 20mm lower than the standard Golf GTI Performance. If you spec it with the dynamic chassis control, it sits a further 5mm lower again. This car's on just the standard 18-inch wheels, which have been finished in gloss black. So we've got a nice sidewall. The car doesn't look over-wheeled, which I think, my personal opinion, with the bigger wheels, it can look a little bit like there's too much wheel and not enough tyre, especially on our lovely roads. But certainly coming down that road there with some lumps and bumps in it at a fair old speed, it was covering ground really, really well. The way the mechanical diff comes in, you wouldn't even, if you didn't know what a mechanical diff was, you wouldn't even know it had one. You would just know that when you accelerate going round a corner, it just doesn't understeer, which is basically what you want. So put the car into manual, we're in sport, we're doing 50 miles an hour. Let's see what she's like from a standard, kind of slow rolling start. Traction control comes in very, very gently. It doesn't pull too much of the power back and get in the way. In fact, it's actually that progressive that I wouldn't be likely to turn it off. I think if you turn it off you might end up just getting axle tramp, which is that horrible sensation when it feels like your front wheels are square and you're really hurting the car. So that was pretty impressive. Well, let's give that another little go. So we'll slow the car down to first, do 10 miles an hour, and we'll really impressive. It's in situations like that you think, am I going to really benefit from having forward motion? But then it rains, and then you think, yeah, in certain circumstances you would miss the four-wheel drive, but I would say that you're going to have a slightly more agile car to enjoy on a country road when you've only got the front wheels doing the work. Never actually feels like the front wheels are overwhelmed by having to do the propulsion and the steering all at the one time, which you can sometimes get in a bigger powered front wheel drive car. The overall riding feeling I'm getting with this car is just pure composure, and it's very impressive. Okay, so we're going to a slightly more challenging road now. This is more tight undulating bends rather than big sweeping corners. We'll probably feel the diff doing its job a bit more now. We've seen a bit more intervention with the traction control, but again, without actually looking down at the dashboard and seeing that little yellow light blinking away at you, you wouldn't actually feel it through the wheel or the seat of the car. Good chip for the tyres there. There is ever so slightly more body roll than I would have expected, but again, that's me getting back to the feeling that the car doesn't feel just as stiff. So when you were really asking it to change direction there was a bit more body roll, but that doesn't translate into any understeer, just more body movement. Coming over that crest, you could just feel it getting a little bit lighter than I would have expected. Again, putting all the power down, foot to the floor with absolutely no fuss. Traction control doing a really good job. The road is ever so slightly damp here, and we're still making excellent progress without feeling like the car's going to come round on you in the corners, on the brakes when you're turning in. Fancy a manual right enough, this is a shame. Big flood here, it always floods here. So in summary, in the higher speed flowing corners, the car's composure is very impressive. The ride control, it leans more towards comfort than die-hard handling, and you can really feel it there when you start pushing the car on tighter, more complex roads, which in a way makes me think that's where I thought this car would have really excelled, because of all the graphics and the, you know, touring car racing, you know, moniker that's stuck onto the bottom of the back door. So it's not as hot as I was hoping for, and it's not as hot as I was expecting. I mean, we've got the racing top band and there's decals and all the other, you know, aero stuff that's been stuck onto the car. So I suppose you've got to ask yourself the question, is it hot enough over the already pretty hot performance pack car? Because it does carry that premium, and for me the premium is really just down to how the car looks, how the car is viewed in terms of exclusivity. But for me, I was wanting, and I was expecting more from the TCR, if I'm being completely honest. Great car that is very hard to fault, as all Golfs are. They do their job so well. I mean, take the Golf R for example. It's a car that probably it's the stigma is the only thing that's ruined that car, because how you jump in and drive it, and they are very difficult to fault. And I've heard lots of people saying that loads of times. but this, for me, it's a great car, but it's not great enough for the premium that they carry. And that's me trying to sell it. But anyway guys, what do you think? Let me know in the comments. I'd be very, very interested to know if you've got a TCR, and if you've had a TCR over a regular performance pack car, do you feel that you've got your money's worth when you've went from the vanilla the vanilla Golf to the TCR? I'd be very, very interested to know. And you know, again, it might be the tyres, guys. Maybe that's what makes this car feel a little bit softer than I was expecting. I don't know, but today in this car on this road, it's a great car, but it's not as good as I was hoping. Thank you very much for joining me on this video. If you would like to consider subscribing to the channel, I would really, really appreciate it. You can do that by clicking this little button down here. And if you'd like to see more road tests, I'll put one up here that I think you may be interested in. My name's Stephen. Thanks very much for joining me along on this video.